Hello friends, and welcome to my YouTube channel. And this is our course on which we are discussing about the salient features of the Indian Constitution. I hope you are enjoying this course, and this is lesson number 7, in which we are going to talk about some of the sources from which Indian Constitution is actually influenced, and we have taken those things, okay, but we have actually modified those things. We have not taken as it is from those sources, because Indian culture and Indian diversity is very much different, so we cannot take things which are actually suitable for any other country and we take it as it is in the case of India. Okay, so we have actually modified those things. So it is presented by me. My name is Rohan Kumar Singh. I have completed my graduation in Electrical and Electronics Engineering from SIRTS College Bhopal. If you like this video, please do hit the like button. And if you want to get various other videos on different educational topics, you can also subscribe to my YouTube channel. Okay, let's move on. So the topic which I have covered in my previous video is we have discussed about the concept of three-tier government in India. We have discussed about the emergency provisions which are there in the Constitution, and we have also discussed about some of the very important independent bodies which are very much necessary for the free and fair functioning of the Indian political system. So if you have not watched my previous video, I would recommend you to please watch it. Okay, so the topic which we are going to discuss is the sources of the Indian Constitution. So the first source which I want to discuss is the Government of India Act of 1935. So it is a colonial law. It was passed during the colonial era, and it is very important because we have taken so much thing from that particular act in the Constitution. So the first thing is the federal scheme. So we have adopted a kind of federal structure for the Indian administration, and it has been taken from the Government of India Act of 1935. So if you want to know about the provisions of the Government of India Act of 1935, there is a separate video there. So if you want to see its elaborate provision, you can watch it. It is there in my YouTube profile. Office of the Governor of the state. Okay, the kind of judiciary or the judicial system we are having, the emergency provisions in the Constitution, and the administrative details. So these things are being taken from the Government of India Act of 1935. Next is the British Constitution. So we have been ruled by Britishers for a very long time, and that's why we have a strong influence of their governance in our Indian Constitution. We have taken so many things. So the first is the parliamentary form of government. So parliamentary form of government, it has been taken from the British Constitution. The rule of law, that means the law is supreme and the final authority in our country, which is being passed by the legislatures in India. The legislative procedures, so how the legislature actually functions, those procedures are also being derived from the British Constitution. The concept of single citizenship, that is the Indian citizenship. So we all Indians, we share only a single citizenship, that is the citizenship of India. The cabinet system, okay, so this kind of system is there. And the prerogative writs, so these are the writs which are being issued by the Supreme Court and High Courts in the state for the restoration or the enforcement of fundamental rights of the citizen. And the principle of bicameral legislatures, that is bicameralism, means the presence of two houses in the Parliament of India. The first is the Lok Sabha or the lower house, also known as House of People, and the upper house, also known as the Rajya Sabha or Council of States. Now next is the US Constitution, very famous and very beautiful Constitution. The first thing is the fundamental rights. So very important, fundamental rights are being derived from the Constitution of USA. So it is the soul and heart of our Constitution. Without fundamental rights, there is no question of existence of the citizenship. Okay, so it is very important. We have taken fundamental rights, but not as it is. I am telling you again, we have modified it according to the Indian context. Next is the independence of judiciary. This is very important. To check the functioning of the legislature and the executive, we require an independent judiciary, and we have taken this particular provision from the US Constitution. Next is the procedure of impeachment of the president. So what is the procedure? The procedure and the grounds also, it is very important for the impeachment of the president of India. Removal of the judges of the High Court and Supreme Court. So that is a very elaborate provision which is mentioned in the Indian Constitution. So all these things we have taken from the Constitution of USA. Next is the Irish Constitution, the Constitution of Ireland. Directive Principles of State Policy, which is mentioned in Part 4 of our Constitution. Very important, because these are the directives which are given by the Constitution of India to the state. And here I say state, it means the central government and the state government. So these authorities, they follow certain provisions, certain directives which are given by the Constitution for making any kind of law and any kind of schemes for the people in India. So actually the directive principles are there to establish a welfare state which is meant for the welfareism of the people. So that's why it is very important. Nomination of members to the Rajya Sabha. So Rajya Sabha is the upper house of the parliament, also known as the Council of States. There are 12 members who are nominated by the President of India. So it has been taken from the Irish Constitution. Method of election of the president. So president is not directly elected in India, as I wanted to know you, and it is an indirect process. Recently it has been happened in India past month. We have a new president of our country, that is Sri Ramnath Kovind ji. So he has been elected as a president of India, and his predecessor is Pranab Mukherjee ji. Okay. So it is a kind of little extra information I am adding here. Now from the Canadian Constitution, we have taken the concept of federation with strong center. So here I want to make one thing very clear for all of you, that India is not a purely federal country as USA. Okay, USA is a pure federation, unlike India. It is so in the case of India, we have a strong center. That means there are certain conditions during which the central government assumes more significance than the state government, although they are independent to make laws. Okay, but there is a certain limitation, certain kind of boundary under which the state governments functions under the central government. Okay, so we have a strong center. Appointment of the governor of the state. So whatever the procedure is there, actually the governor of the state is being appointed by the President of India. Okay, so indirectly we can say it is being appointed by the central government, because president has to act on the advice of the Prime Minister and its cabinet. Okay. Now we'll talk about the Australian Constitution, the concurrent list. So in the 7th schedule of the Indian Constitution, there are 3 kinds of lists. The first is the central list, next is the state list, and the third is the concurrent list. So in concurrent list, both state government and central government, they can make law. Okay, that is the both state legislature and the parliament are empowered to make law. But the parliamentary law has a overriding characteristics over the state law. So whenever there is a conflict between the central law and the state law, the law of the center prevails. Okay, so as I have already told you, we are not a purely federal country. That's why the provision is there. Freedom of trade, joint sitting of the parliament. So there are certain situations during which it is required that joint sitting of Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha happens in the parliament. Not in all the situations, there are certain conditions to that. So that procedure has been also derived from the Australian Constitution. Next we'll talk about the Russian Constitution. From Russian Constitution we have taken the concept of fundamental duties. Now it is very important that every citizen of India who generally talks about their rights. Okay, nowadays and from the past also, we are being more giving importance to our rights. We also we talk most of the times of our rights, which has been given by the Constitution of India, but we forget most of the time the duties which we owe to our country. Okay, so originally fundamental duties are not there in our Constitution during its time of framing, but later it has been added in 1972, I think, by the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. So fundamental duties are very important. Next is the ideal of justice in the Okay, the ideal of justice and preamble. Okay, so we have mentioned the justice. We want to ensure justice to each and every citizen of our country. So it has been mentioned in the preamble, and it has been taken from the Russian constitution. Next, we'll talk about the Constitution of France. From the Constitution of France, we have taken the ideal of a republic. Republic means the head of our country is elected. So who is the head of our country? President of India is the head of our country, and he is elected by the elected representatives of the people. Okay, so that's why India is a republic country. And the ideals of liberty, equality, and fraternity, very important ideals. So these ideals are been there in the preamble. We have mentioned those ideals, and it had been derived from the Constitution of France. Next is the Constitution of South Africa. So it is very important because we have a similar kind of colonial history with South Africa, and the father of our nation, Mahatma Gandhi ji, he has been to South Africa for a very long period. After that, he came to India and led the freedom of struggle, and he gave the country its independence. So there are also many people along with Gandhiji who are actually participated. Approximately all the citizens of India, they have performed. They have done a very what I can say, a very exemplary job of giving independence to us, their future generations. We respect them all very much. So talking about the main thing, the procedure of amendments in the Constitution, how the Constitution can be amended. Okay. So those procedures are being taken from the Constitution of South Africa, and the method of election of the members of the Rajya Sabha. So here I want to tell you that the Rajya Sabha members, or the member of the Rajya Sabha, they are not directly elected by the people. They are being elected by the elected representatives at the state legislature. Okay. So that method or that provision has been derived from the South African Constitution. Next is the procedure established by law. So it is a very deep concept. Okay, so whenever a judicial review is there of any kind of law by the judiciary, so they actually look into the boundaries of the law. Okay, whatever the procedure that was established by the law. So if we want to check the constitutionality of the law, it is whether right or wrong, we just follow the procedure which is established by the law, that is by the Parliament of India. Okay. So that particular provision has been derived from the Japanese Constitution. So thank you very much guys for watching this video. If you like this video, do hit the like button. And if you want to get various videos on different educational topics, you can also subscribe to my YouTube channel. So please don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to give any kind of suggestion, any kind of doubts you have in your mind regarding any of my videos or any kind of lectures, so please post it in the comment section below and I will reply to you. That is my personal guarantee. And thank you very much once again, and have an awesome day.